Hello, my name is Hugh Tapp and I'm President for the South Atlantic Division of HCA. We're going to take this video message and focus on Hurricane Florence. Above all else, we're committed to the care and improvement of human life. Those 14 words should drive our actions every day, and during this event of Hurricane Florence, we have multiple examples of how we effectively have lived that message, not only in Myrtle Beach, but across our entire division. 5 days prior to the landfall of Hurricane Florence, we had 371 patients in-house at Grand Strand Medical Center. We were able to evacuate 371 patients. 196 of those patients were evacuated in 52 hours. The bulk of those patients went to our South Atlantic hospitals. 8 hospitals received patients from Grand Strand Medical Center. That occurred in Walterboro, in Augusta, in Macon, Dublin, Savannah, Waycross, Charleston, and in Jacksonville. For every one of those hospitals that received patients, you continued the mission of making sure that our patients were well cared for when they arrived and well cared for throughout their stay. Thank you for what you did to make sure that those patients were cared for, and let's take a couple of minutes and look at the different ways that we've lived out our mission through Hurricane Florence. These maps show Hurricane Florence barreling towards us. We knew Myrtle Beach was most likely going to be hit hard. There was also some concern about Trident, Somerville, and Colleton, where the A and B team showed up in force, ready to care for our patients. About 4 days before Florence was forecast to hit, the governor of South Carolina called for a mandatory resident evacuation of the 8 counties on the eastern seaboard of South Carolina, and a mandatory medical evacuation of Grand Strand Medical Center. Evacuating a level 1 trauma center is not an easy thing to do, and it's something most of us will never experience in our careers. But the Grand Strand team did an amazing job with the logistics, with the actual process of moving patients from their rooms to ambulances and into receiving hospitals. They did an amazing job reassuring their patients the entire time, working with families so that families were aware of what was going on and how well their family members were going to be cared for. Let's hear about one patient's story in that transition.
It looked like General Schwarzkopf organizing troops to get these 6 patients on that bus and out to this facility. These 2 people on that ambulance over to this facility. I mean, I can't imagine how much pre-planning had to go into it. It was very fascinating from what I saw. I saw a lot of meetings going on. I could hear the staff start to converse about what happens when we do this and what happens when we do that, and here's what we're going to do, and this is what they've got planned. And so there appeared to be a lot of effective communication, you know, down to the nurses' aides and even, frankly, the housekeeping staff knew a lot of details about what was going on or what was supposed to happen. They targeted an A-B schedule. They knew what was going to happen for days after the storm. Again, very interesting and fascinating to see how efficiently they handled what had to be several thousand people being moved.
So this patient describes a military operation. Grand Strand was involved in that, the transport team was involved in that, and the receiving hospital was involved in that. A continuum of care was provided to make sure that this patient was well cared for. Let's hear another story about the reassurances our patients received upon arrival at our hospitals.
There were a bunch of people in the lobby, some of them dressed in their nurse uniforms and doctors and office people, and they were all clapping and cheering, and I felt like I was a celebrity. And since I've been here, all of the staff, they're so nice, so nice. I would have thought they would have been grumpy, you know, getting people at that time of night. And nobody was grumpy. Everybody was so nice. It was hard because my husband had to stay in Myrtle Beach. And I also have 3 little dogs. And knowing that I was leaving all of them behind. The transition was hard to realize that this was happening. And that I was going to be away from my family, you know. But like I said, this hospital has made me feel so good. Even when last night I was a little depressed, and I was able to get hugs from my nurses.
Our Macon story just focused on the great care provided at the receiving hospital. But the care that was provided at the receiving hospital in every case was made possible because of the network of support that occurred to make sure that every one of our patients was taken care of. 5 days before the storm, over 370 patients. Without the IT support, the supply chain support, the transfer center support, the corporate EOC, the division EOC, without all of the support that was provided, we would not have as effectively provided care for that many patients. Thank you for what you did to make sure that whether you directly touched a patient or not, you made sure that above all else, we're committed to the care and improvement of human life. Our mission centers on taking care of patients, but we need to take care of each other at the same time. During the storm, when Grand Strand was evacuated, HCA offered pay continuation to our full-time and part-time team members so their income would be complete during the time of Hurricane Florence. Right after the storm, when our team members began to repopulate Myrtle Beach, HCA brought in food, ice, water, hygiene kits, and cleaning supplies so that our employees would be taken care of. Grand Strand also secured safe transportation and hotel lodging for those who live in flood-prone areas where travel to work would simply not be safe. HCA also offered immediate financial support to those with the greatest impact from the storm and increased Hope Fund grants to $7,500 to help employees with damage to their homes, cars, or property from the storm. That's the beauty of working for HCA. We are stronger together. It makes a difference for our patients, our communities, and it makes a difference for each other. Thank you for what you've already done, and thank you for what you're going to do tomorrow.